Well, greetings, friends, and welcome back to Traveling Well, episode 24. This one's a little bit different. I'm going to take you to Emory University Eye Clinic, where my wife Jamie was on Friday morning. Kind of the culmination of 2 weeks of stuff going on with her eye, and at the end of the episode, I'm actually going to let her tell the story. So please don't go anywhere. It's a pretty fascinating one. And I knew it was going to be a stressful morning. We had to be in downtown Atlanta at 8 o'clock, which means we had to get up at 5, leave here by 6, fight the traffic and get down there. And so I went on Airbnb, found us a barn in the middle of Habersham County, which is up in the northeast part of the state, up in the foothills of the mountains. And we had the loft in this barn, and it was just what we needed. A place to get away, where it was peaceful and quiet, a place where we could process and pray and talk and just sit quietly. And it was wonderful. We even had some neighbors come up and visit us. And then we got up Saturday morning and went down to the other side of Toccoa, Georgia, to a place called Travelers Rest. It was one of 4 stagecoach inns on the Unicoi Turnpike. It was built in 1815, very old building, and it's really well preserved. It's the only one of these 4 stagecoach inns that is still in existence, and it was really cool to go and see it. If you're interested in those kind of things, look it up, Travelers Rest. It was really worth the visit. And then on our way over to Apple Country on the way home to get some apples, we stumbled on this little covered bridge. That's what happens when you follow the signs and get off the main roads and just go exploring. It was really a nice time. So that's what we have. Again, please stick around for the interview with Jamie, because we really feel like this is important. It's important for people to know some of the things that we're learning and experiencing. It's important for people to know where we are and where our heart is as we chronicle what looks like it's going to be an interesting and pretty difficult adventure. So stick around for that. Again, I appreciate you listening, following, watching, sharing, and hope you'll share this one with anyone you think needs to hear it. Until we meet again, travel well and enjoy the journey, and never ever doubt that you are deeply loved by the God who created you. It's the truth. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. There's a bridge right there. So we are spending the night in the loft of a barn somewhere in Habersham County. Toccoa Falls is right down the road. Tallulah Falls are up the road, and we're going to get up in the morning, go to Toccoa Falls, Toccoa, and see some historic stuff, and go back through the mountains to Ellijay and pick some apples, and then go home. But this is a nice rest after what has been an incredibly stressful day. Week, 2 weeks, you call it. So, greetings, fellow travelers, and welcome to a pretty interesting episode of Traveling Well. This is my beautiful wife, Jamie. We've known each other for about 42 years now, and for some reason she's still being seen in public with me. But she's the love of my life and my best friend, and we've got quite a story to tell.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you tell the story.
Okay. Well, probably 2.5 months ago now, I started getting some kind of strange flashes of light in my left eye. And I had started doing some acupuncture treatments at the same time, just for overall health, wellness kind of thing, and thought maybe they might be connected. And so I spoke with my acupuncturist about it. She said, you probably should have that checked out. And I went to an ophthalmologist about 2.5 weeks ago, and that ophthalmologist sent me over to Georgia retinal specialist, saying that part of my retina and that eye was detaching. And that doctor did some more tests, did an ultrasound, and then she walked into the room and she said, did you come here by yourself? And I said yes, but my husband's nearby. We were in the Square in Marietta, and he was eating lunch, and because they were talking about immediate surgery because of the retinal detachment, then, I said he's nearby. She said, well, do you want to call him so I can talk to you both? And I immediately thought, she's not got anything good to tell me. And I said, no, just go ahead and tell me. And she said, you have a mass in your left eye. I think it's ocular melanoma. Do you have any questions for me? And I was just befuddled. I had never heard of that before. I had no idea what she was talking about. I asked her a question. I don't remember what that question was at this point. And she answered it, whatever it was, and then she said, do you have any more questions for me? And I just was like, no, I guess. So she referred me to a colleague of hers at another retinal place. It's same place, Georgia Retina, but he was an ophthalmologist oncologist. And they did more tests, more pictures, more this and that of my eye. And he said, it is ocular melanoma, but it's treatable, very treatable. And I said, is this an emergency? And he said, no. And he referred me to his colleague at Emory University. This doctor saw me this past Friday. She also confirmed that it is ocular melanoma, and she wants to do a radiation treatment where they would actually put me to sleep, take a small plaque that is full of radioactive seeds, place it into my eye, sew it back up, and give me a lead plate to put over it, because for the week that I would be wearing this radioactive plaque in my eye, I would not be allowed to sleep with my husband, be around anyone without this lead plate covering my eye, because apparently I would be radioactive. And I asked her lots of questions that I could think of, and said, this is awfully close to my brain, is that not going to harm my brain? And she was like, no, it's fine, it's not even pointed at your brain where the tumor is located, it won't be hitting your brain. And I was thinking, so I'm radioactive to anyone who even walks in the room with me, but I'm not radioactive to myself. So that is what's going on. The latest is that we went to Emory on Friday and had this visit with this doctor, who spent about 15 minutes with me and then said, I'll see you at surgery. I've never laid eyes on her before, and I won't lay eyes on her again until she possibly does a surgery on me.
Wow.
So there you go.
Yep. So, I've said a lot of times that the faith journey is hard. It's not a simple thing to do, and this certainly has not been the turn in the road that either one of us would have wanted. But we're here, and talk a little bit about the other path, the journey that you were really already on, that you've been on for quite a while for health, and the difference between that and the treatment that we're being offered.
So we've had some difficult things happen with some of our children being very ill, and that caused me to have some, what I thought was just minor health issues, just a lot of fatigue and just not feeling great. And I went to a place that takes time with you to explore what's going on in your body. They do a lot of testing, probably not a lot of testing that anybody who's used to conventional medicine would be used to. And they try to discover what is actually going on in your body, what's going wrong in your body. And then they try to fix it. And I lost some weight and I felt much better. But I didn't follow it wholeheartedly because, I didn't have any major pressing health issues at the time.
And this was several years ago.
This was several years ago.
Right.
But more and more, I've just been reading more and more about the additives that are in our food, how harmful they are to us, sugar and how harmful and what a poison sugar is to our bodies. And so a few months ago, I started really trying to eat a whole diet, not eat any processed foods, not buy foods that come in a box or come in a bag, but to eat just whole, healthy foods. Having said that, I was still drinking some coffee with a ton of sugar and cream in it because that's the only way I can drink coffee, and eating a bunch of chocolate and things like that. So I've been interested in eating a whole diet for quite a while.
Right.
And but when you are faced with a cancer diagnosis, then you get a very vested interest in helping your body to heal.
Right. So, as you know, you've seen 4 doctors now for this eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
The original one, then referred, then referred, then referred.
Yes.
And all of those conversations, and I was in the last 2, so I know you brought up, I'm making changes. I'm trying to eat right. I'm trying to reduce my stress level and these things. What's the reaction that you've gotten from the medical community that you've been interacting with?
Well, the third doctor that I saw, and I liked him. He was a very nice man, and I quote, he said, "Acupuncture and nuts and seeds will not get rid of this tumor."
Right.
And then the last doctor that we saw, the one at Emory, all 4 of these, well, I didn't bring it up with the first one. I didn't bring it up with the second one because I was so in shock.
Right.
But the third doctor and the fourth doctor, I definitely brought up health.
Right.
And my desire and my belief that changing your health can rid your body of disease. And neither one of them seemed to have any interest in that whatsoever.
Right. Right. Has the word cure or healing been brought up at all?
No. The only words that have been brought up have been the word treatment.
Right.
We can treat this. This is treatable. Not curable, not we can help your body to regain its balance, which is called homeostasis. Your body is constantly fighting for balance, constantly fighting to be well, and no one has brought that up in any way. It's just we can treat this with surgeries, drugs, etc.
And then scan you for the rest of your life
And
to
then
make sure
scan
nothing
me.
bad happened.
Yes, for the next 10 years, you'll have to have scans every 3 to 6 months to make sure that there's no cancer that has spread throughout your body.
Right.
Those scans, by the way, a CT scan is an incredible amount of radiation that is bombarding your body. And in my personal opinion, to be scanned every 3 to 6 months is giving my body radiation, which causes cancer,
Right.
and that it does not need.
Right. Right. So we find ourselves really between kind of this proverbial rock and the hard place, where
Yes.
you've got, medical science, the medical path, the way that most people live is saying, we'll call you next week to schedule your radiology consult, and then we'll get you on the schedule for this surgery, and then we're going to do this and this and this. And you're on what I'm calling the cancer treadmill for the rest of your life, or at least the next 10 years until somebody declares you cancer free.
Right.
And that seems very stressful.
Yes.
And then there's this other idea, and it's a really powerful idea, that your body was created by God with incredible healing properties.
Yes.
Not just potential, but abilities, right?
Yes.
And there's, you can research it yourself. There are medical professionals who are saying, we don't understand, they call it the placebo effect, where basically people who have a mindset that says, I can be this, I can heal, are healing. They call it spontaneous healing, although there's really nothing spontaneous about it.
No.
And so this idea that we can take control, we can eat the right things, put good things into our bodies that our bodies need, not put things that are toxic and poison in our bodies, and work on our mind, our mindsets, our attitudes, certainly work on our spiritual health, growing closer to God and walking in deeper faith, that through that holistic mind, body, spirit, we can then have growing wellness in our body and have experience healing because the body's designed to be well and heal if we do the right things with it.
Correct.
And these are two totally different philosophies.
Yes.
So, having said that, where is your heart right now on those two? I mean, the path that's divergent in front of you. Which one do you feel led to?
So I have a friend who had cancer 6 years ago, who had surgery, and when the doctor did the surgery, he actually burst the tumor within her body. And then she was told that she would have to have chemotherapy, and she opted not to. And instead, she chose that path of wellness. She chose a path of completely changing her lifestyle, her eating, everything about her life. And here it is 6 years later, and I just spoke with her a week or so ago. She's had her 6th checkup, and she's fine. She's cancer-free. She's just fine. I spoke with another woman who has the same thing that I have. She has an ocular melanoma. She did everything traditionally that the doctors told her to do. She did the radiation. She was radioactive. She lost the sight in her eye anyway. After the radiation, it actually made her lose her sight. And she developed a metastasized cancer in her liver. So for the past 4 years, she has been struggling with cancer of the liver. So this cancer has spread from her eye to her liver, which is in this case typically where it goes. And I asked her if she had done anything else to try to improve her health or do any non-traditional treatments. And she said no. The doctor told her there's no connection whatsoever, that she wasn't to worry about the sugar that she consumed, anything else. So she's done nothing else. And everything that I have read says that cancer feeds sugar.
Right.
So to tell a patient that you're going to radiate their body, scan them every 3 months, which radiates their body, and they don't need to do anything to try to improve their health, to improve their immune system, which is what naturally fights cancer cells that develop in your body and gets rid of them. And so to tell them that they can just go ahead and eat whatever they want to eat is counterintuitive to me. It makes no sense.
Right.
And so my heart is telling me that this cancer, I own this cancer. I have done things in my life, and not just in the distant past, but even recently, eating badly, allowing my stress levels to be way beyond what they should be, working way too hard, being bitter, being angry, being unforgiving, just dealing with lots of stress and not dealing with it, not exercising, sitting on the couch, watching YouTube.
Right.
There's so many things that I have done in the past that I believe allowed this cancer to develop in my eye. It's not a fluke. It's not an accident. Of course, as a Christian, I believe that God has allowed this for a reason. But I also believe that that I have to take ownership of this. I'm not a helpless person here. I own this.
Right.
I helped it develop, and I can help it go away.
Yeah.
My heart says that if I give my body the things that it needs, and I don't give my body the things that it doesn't need, that my body will heal. It's fighting to heal. I just need to step aside and let it do what it needs to do.
Right. Awesome. There's this great story in the gospel about this woman who had an issue of blood and crawled through the crowd to get to Jesus. And it's very interesting. It basically says that she had suffered at the hands of physicians and spent every penny that she had.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead and read it. It's from the Gospel of Mark.
It's from the Gospel of Mark. It's Mark 5, and it starts in verse 25. It says, "Now a certain woman who had a flow of blood for 12 years and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, 'If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well.' Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, 'Who touched my clothes?' But his disciples said to him, 'You see the multitude thronging you, and you say, "Who touched me?" And he looked around to see her who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him, and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, 'Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction.'"
So I just find this story to be such an encouraging word from the gospel itself. But how does it speak to you?
It tells me, and I truly believe, that if God so chose, he could touch this eye, he could speak a word, and it would be immediately healed. I know that. I don't know that that's his plan for me, but I know that he could do that if he wanted to. But the beginning, where she's had this condition for 12 years and she's gone to many physicians, boy do I know what that's about now.
Right.
And she had suffered many things from them, and she's no better.
Right.
And she spent all the money that she had. That is a typical scenario in today's medical industry, especially amongst cancer patients. They go and they do your conventional, typical treatments.
Right.
They suffer many, many things from many physicians, and a lot of times they're no better, and they are bankrupt.
Right.
Because it is so expensive. I can't even imagine how much money has already been accrued on my behalf in the last 2 weeks. And so that really speaks to me, because I've been to 4 different physicians in the last 2.5 weeks. Of those 4 physicians, the first one actually took a little time to look at my eye. He was the one who referred me to the retinal specialist. But after that, the second one gave me about 5 minutes and then told me I had cancer in my eye. The third one took probably 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
And I had so many questions, and he kept saying he would kind of answer those questions really quickly and say, "I gotta go."
Right.
And then I would say, "But, blah, blah, blah." And he'd say, "Okay, I'm referring you to this person," and then I gotta go. And then the fourth one, who I saw Friday, spent about 15 minutes with me. This is someone who's talking about having a radioactive plate placed in my eye, and then scanning me and doing this and that, and I won't even see her again. And I never saw her in the first place because
Right.
she had a mask on.
Right.
I never even looked at her face.
Right.
Spent about 15 minutes with us,
Right.
and then said, "I'll see you in surgery." So I feel like, I don't mean to say that doctors don't care, and I don't mean to say that doctors are bad people. I mean to say that our medical system treats you like a number.
Yeah.
You are not a human being. If I met any of these four people that I saw in the last 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks in the grocery store, they would have no clue who I was.
Right.
None. And they don't know my name. They would not know my name. I'm not a person to them. I am a treatment. I am a plan. I am standard of care. I am whatever it is that doctors do nowadays, but I am not a person, a physical person that they
Mind,
care
body,
about.
and spirit, right?
Yes. Yes, and it's been the eye.
Right.
It's not been, oh, you have cancer in your eye. What's going on in your body?
Right.
The last doctor I saw, when I said, I'm 61 years old now, I've never had surgery in my whole entire life. And she said, oh, you're healthy. And I said, I have a tumor in my eye that's cancerous. I have psoriasis. I've got some asthma issues. I'm tired. How is that healthy? I'm not healthy. You don't have cancer if your body is healthy.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, it is an incredible point, and again, we're 2 weeks in to this journey,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's. But I think we have prayed together. We've prayed with our daughter. We've talked to. You've talked to the Goldberg Clinic. We've read a lot. We've listened to a lot of people. There's a lot of information out there that we're trying to gain and process, and most of all, we've prayed a lot, and we have sought answers from God. What are we supposed to do? Because that's something that I have preached and taught and professed for years. Is we need to listen to God and then follow Jesus where He leads us, not where we want to go. And I think we're in agreement that we feel like He is leading us onto a path of wellness and healing, not onto the treadmill of treatments, scans, and illness, sickness. Everything that you do, when you look at it, every time you have a scan or a treatment or a procedure, it's depleting your body of vitality. It does. It wipes you out.
yep.
What we're looking at is how can we fill your body up and bring healing and completeness to it, and trust that in that process God is going to deal with the tumor, which is a symptom, right? It's a symptom.
Yes.
Our medical system is geared to treat symptoms,
Yes.
but they don't even discuss root cause, cats fighting on the driveway, and what we need to do to restore balance and
Right.
health to your body.
Right.
So, I think that's where we're at with this. So, but what would you want people to know and understand about your decision, our decision, and the direction that we're headed in?
So, I think it doesn't mean that I might not eventually do this radiation. It doesn't mean that I might not eventually lose this eye. What it means to me is this. Number one, my prayer has been that there will be an agreement between me, my husband, and our daughter, who sees things very similarly to us, health-wise, that we will all three be in concert with each other after praying, after fasting, after seeking God, that He will give all three of us peace and agreement as to our steps. I don't want to even look down the road
Right.
a month or even a couple weeks, because I don't know what God's next step for me right now. Going to this clinic that I'm going to, that I went to years ago, and now they're working with me again, and I'm going to be much more motivated to do exactly what they tell me to do this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to be much more motivated to do exactly what they tell me to do, because it's my life.
Right.
And I believe that God has allowed this in my life for a reason. I don't know exactly what that reason is, but God has given me such a passion for natural healing, for natural health, for doing those things that your body needs and not doing the things that your body doesn't need
Right.
to help your body to heal. I've never been a fan of conventional medicine. I'm certainly not a fan of it right now. I wasn't raised to be a fan of it. And I think statistically it shows that kind of the more we go to a doctor, the sicker we get, honestly.
Right.
I'm just being honest. And so we are going to pray. We are going to seek God. If God clearly gives us peace, all three of us, as to, we should go with this radiation, then I'll do it. Absolutely. If God gives us a peace and says, you know what, you should have this eye taken out, then I'll do it. I will do what I feel God is calling me to do. But I feel that God can use my body to heal my body. I have an immune system. I've been sick probably 4 or 5 times this year with colds and flus and probably COVID and different things. And a good, healthy immune system fights sickness. And so that tells me that my immune system is not functioning like it should.
Right.
And so I'll be working with this clinic to help my immune system to function properly, and so that it can get busy healing this tumor in my eye or healing any cancer that might be in my body. We all have cancer cells in our body. And the only reason that we don't all get cancer is because our immune system, if it's healthy, deals with those cancer cells as they start to develop and rids them out of your body. But statistically, I think now they're saying statistically that 1 out of every 3 women and 1 out of every 4 men will develop cancer in their lifetime in our country.
Right.
And if you go into parts of the world where people eat healthy food grown in healthy soil, they drink clean water, they live in communities where they are supported and loved, they breathe fresh air, and they walk up and down hills and work hard and exercise and have purpose in life, those people don't get sick.
Right.
They don't get cancer. They don't get heart disease. They don't develop diabetes.
Yep.
These diseases are not diseases we catch. These are diseases that develop in our bodies over time because of our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I was told that this tumor in my eye could have been there for years. And the only way they see them is when they get big enough to be seen or cause a problem. So my body's been fighting sickness for years now.
Right.
And so I just believe that we are going to take some time, and I am going to work really hard on doing those things that I know to do, that I can afford to do, that will help my body restore its health. It makes no sense to me at all
Right.
to, as Mark said, when you deplete your body, every time I go to a conventional doctor, that depletes my body. It's stressful. I absolutely abhor it. I don't like going. It makes me upset. And it feels very stressful to me. And if you pump radiation into your body, you are depleting your body.
Right.
Your body has to work all the harder to deal with that radiation than it did if you never put it in your body. Every time you get a scan,
Right.
you're putting radiation into your body, and your body has to work all the harder.
Right.
I told my daughter this morning, it's like I'm trying to make it here, and boom.
Right.
And then you're trying to, okay, you get up again, and then boom, radiation. And then boom, there's a scan. And then boom, boom, there's some surgery.
Right.
And before long, your body's like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I just can't do it anymore. And so rather than treating my symptom, rather than treating cancer, I want to heal this body.
Yep.
This body is sick. Even though it may not look sick, it's sick, and it needs to be healed. And I don't want to fight it and battle it. I want to love it and heal it.
Hey, amen. That's great. Well, we will keep you guys up to date as this unfolds. Again, there's this great scene in Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade where Indiana Jones is required to step off into this chasm. And when you look down, all he sees is the floor of this chasm. But once he takes the step, he realizes there's actually a stone bridge across the chasm that just blends into the floor. It's called the step of faith. And that's what we've done many times before. And I think that's where we're at, is another step of faith. So stick around. This one's going to be exciting. Maybe.
And just like when we went to Minnesota and, packed up our little family and moved into a dormitory on a missionary college, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Any of you who believe in conventional medicine, and I am not in any way looking down upon you or saying that's wrong. It's just not my belief system. I don't believe it helps, and I think a lot of times it can harm. And it doesn't make sense to people who have complete and total trust in their doctor and do whatever a doctor tells them to do. For someone to say, I don't agree with that, or I don't believe that, or
right. I don't share your
I don't
trust.
trust you,
right.
and I don't trust this.
Right.
And how can you trust someone you've literally just met who's telling you to do something that is really, really dangerous to your body? And I understand that these doctors have dealt with these things a long time, but they can't give me any promises. The only promise that I've got so far is that I will develop a cataract in that eye.
Right.
That's the only promise I've gotten.
Guaranteed, 100%.
They cannot guarantee me that
you won't lose vision.
That I won't lose my vision. They can't guarantee me that the radiation won't cause so much swelling in my eye that I will have excruciating pain, that if steroids don't deal with it, I'd have to have the eye removed anyway.
Right.
They cannot guarantee me that this treatment will cause this cancer to not spread anywhere else in my body. They can't guarantee me anything except, yes, you'll have a cataract.
Right. You're guaranteed. 100%. You're going to get a cataract.
I'm just like, that doesn't sound great to me. I just don't,
Yeah.
If this doctor could say, if we remove this, if we do this radiation, this thing will go, it'll be gone, you never have to worry about it again, I 100% can guarantee you that. You won't have to worry about it spreading anywhere else. It's contained, no biggie, no problem. It would be a little easier to make that decision.
Yeah.
But they can't guarantee that at all.
No, there's no promise at all, except that you'll be scanned for every 3 to 6 months for the rest of your life if the procedure is successful. And success means...
They can't even guarantee that it will shrink the tumor.
Success is that the tumor goes away and you retain 60 to 70% use of the eye.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
And but God is faithful.
Yes, He
is. And He's in control.
Yep.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you. Hey, and we'll see you next time.
This episode of The Eclectic Monk was brought to you by the pharmacology experts of Astral Farsica, makers of Hazania, We Screwed Ya, Oh Screw It, and Xylolobotica. See you next time.